Hey everyone, this is Tori and Terry with Marriage Talk Tuesdays with Tori and Terry. We are actually a couple minutes late, but that's okay. Just give you guys time to go ahead and start your watch parties and also start liking and sharing. We got a special guest tonight. We got Tony and LJ Henderson tonight joining us. Wait to the fans, y'all.
How y'all doing?
Hello.
So again, give you guys a couple moments to go ahead and log in, and also we want to hear your comments tonight. We got a juicy topic tonight, and we're going to go into it in a few moments here. So let me yeah. There we go. All right.
Okay. So let's see, I hit mine. Your shot,
Huh?
You would go to Blair the same way.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just do my shot.
So guys, again, we want you guys to like and share this video tonight, and another couple moments here while we get our phone set up, and then we'll get started. You guys got it?
You got yours?
Trying to get more
Yeah.
You got yours? No, I was talking to them. Okay, there we go.
See, keep
So
it on.
share, and then you can hit watch.
All right, you
Hey
got it.
everybody, how you doing? Welcome. Good to be here tonight. All right, we're ready.
You ready? Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah, hook me up on the
I thought you was.
hook me up on the watch party. All right, so I mentioned tonight we got Tony and LJ Henderson. And LJ Henderson, she's the First Lady of Education. She's also a book author. So we got them joining us tonight. We're gonna talk about her new book. We're gonna talk about what's the name of it?
It's called It All Added Up, and it's a dream of kid entrepreneurship becomes a reality.
All right, so we're gonna go from G-rated, and then we're gonna go to a PG topic in a few moments after that. So we're gonna discuss what would you do if you caught your spouse in bed with another man or a woman. So we'll be discussing this tonight under our segment called The Impact of Catching Your Spouse Cheating. What's up, Miss Mickey? I see you just joined in. How you doing?
Okay,
It's not working out? All right, don't worry about it. So anyway, as we always do, we're gonna go ahead and get started in prayer. And you guys ready?
Yeah.
Gonna get started in prayer right quick. Dear Heavenly Father, in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to be here again tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to be able to coach and mentor the young married couples out here and those thinking about getting married and those that are in relationships, oh Lord. We just ask that you lead, guide, and direct us in the path that you would take, oh Lord, and allow us to have that same wisdom to disseminate to them. So we ask all of this in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ as we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So I mentioned again, I'll just say it again. We got Tony and LJ Henderson here. Why don't you tell us about yourselves?
LJ Henderson, First Lady of Education, have over 26 years in education experience as a pediatric speech therapist, teacher, owner of 2 childhood learning centers, university professor for Texas Southern University, former member of TSU debate team, and the list goes on and on and on.
I hear you.
I'm the
Bravo.
husband, Tony Henderson. I'm the other owner of Taking Kids Places 24-hour child care in the United Learning Center. Background, healthcare administration. I worked in healthcare administration for MD Anderson,
Okay.
HCA, hospital systems. Also did a bit of Memorial Hospital Systems for about the past 12 years. We have been in the entrepreneurship and loving it.
Good. I know what you mean, loving it. Ain't nothing like having your own, right?
Yes.
Man. So I understand you just published this, this week?
Yeah, this weekend actually. November 16th marked the anniversary of my grandfather's passing. And most of the things that I learned from him. November 16th, 19 years ago, was when he passed. And so I actually launched it on this Saturday, and then I had a book release and signing with kids at my child care center in celebration of my birthday on yesterday. So it's hot off the press.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Scorpio season.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Happy to meet you.
All right.
No, I don't believe in those signs. I just believe in stop sign, all right? What you got, babe? What you got for him?
No, I was just excited to hear about your book, and I want to hear more about your grandfather because I understand that there was a quote that he had for you. And
Yes.
you've taken that forward and paid it forward with this book.
Yeah, so my grandfather, John Henry Randolph, was famous for his one-liners, and one that kind of stuck out to me was he said, "It's a sad rat that ain't got but one hole to crawl in."
Oh, wow.
So when you think about that in modern day
Oh, no,
terms,
you can't just say that. You gotta break that down.
yes,
So let's hear it again because
Okay.
we got our listeners.
okay,
We got our radio listeners and our Facebook Live listeners. So
yes,
slower.
okay. It's a sad rat that ain't got but one hole to crawl in.
Where was he from?
He was from Louisiana. Yeah, he was from Shreveport.
Tell by the vernacular.
And but I was reared in Kelly, Louisiana. I was born in Monroe.
Okay.
So northern Louisiana, grew up in a house with no indoor plumbing, bathing outside, chopping wood, all that good stuff. So I know how to slop hogs, shoot, all that good stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I hear you. What about you, Tony? Where you from?
I am from H-Town.
H-Town, in the house.
By way of Missouri City, aka Mo City.
Okay.
And attended the greatest high school in the world.
What, Madison?
That would be Mullerhead.
Madison in the house. Madison is in the house. Hey, turn those mics off. Madison in the house.
I'm ready, Kelly, tonight. I'm ready, Joe. Okay, Kelly.
Eagles for life. Mo City's Indians.
That's right.
Madison
It will
Marlins.
always be Indians.
3 against 2 now.
Hey, where my Marlins alumni? Come on, check in.
They still going through withdrawal through that whipping that we gave them.
Oh, come on now. Come
Okay,
on
we
now.
digress. So tell me about your grandfather, what that has to do with the book today, with that quote that he, because that was a pretty powerful quote. And especially, how old were you when he said that to you?
I was young, so maybe about 7 or 8 years old.
That you recall.
But I recall,
And it stayed with you,
and
huh?
it stayed with me. So my grandfather, he was a puff wood hauler, so he, chopped wood and hauled it up and down, Highway 165, and that's how he earned his living. And my grandmother, she worked at a plant called Louisiana Pacific, and that's where they actually processed the wood and made pallets for construction and all that type
Sure.
of stuff. But he always had a way to make a little extra money on the side.
Okay.
So
That's where that
comes from. So I've heard a lot of people talking about social responsibility, and that it's irresponsible to only have one stream of revenue for your family at this point. And
Especially in 2020.
yes.
Well, the Bible says, we're supposed to build wealth for our children,
Children,
grandchildren.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So that's where that came from. But he just taught me a lot of life lessons. He was a man of integrity. You could get stuff off of his name. The first time actually that I took my husband home to visit, and we had children at this point, so we were grown. And we went to the video store. We still had a video store back then, not a Blockbuster, but it was a trailer with some movies. And so when we went there and we walked in, they were like, old people still know your face, so they know who your people are by how you look. And so they walked in, and I'm like, "You Jan Randolph's granddaughter?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I introduced my husband, and we walked out with like 13 videos. And my husband's like, "Y'all don't have no card?" I'm like, "No, that's J grandkids." And so pretty much we walked around, and we were able to barter for services for years after that system was gone based on his name. And so, in raising my children, the family name is important.
Sure.
And
Yes,
so,
yes, indeed.
you don't disrespect, the family name. Don't let your name beat you home.
Ooh, I heard
So,
that
yeah.
before.
So
what is it?
your name beat you home. So don't let no bad news come to your family before you put it out there yourself. So it just really taught me how to live and how to treat people. And we were in a racially tense kind of environment. I actually saw crosses burned on land at one point,
Wow.
but it was heavy, but they didn't mess with John Henry. They didn't want to come up that lane. They wanted problems. So, yeah.
Ironically, I had a grandfather whose name was John Henry.
Okay, cousin, come on.
John Henry.
Uh-huh.
So, wow. So,
So yeah, tell us how it got to the book.
Okay, so it got to the book because I guess I'm not just working with children, and I'm seeing so many millennials, and everyone is talking about bossing up and being a boss, and no one wants to work. And I think that before you can really be your own boss or run your own business successfully, I think the work experience that you gain working for someone else is important.
it is.
So when I talk about entrepreneurship, it's not that, I ain't gonna never work for nobody, because I think that you learn soft skills and people skills by going through that process. And that makes you a better business owner than you just running out here saying, I'm running my own thing, doing my own thing, because I don't want to work for nobody. Can't nobody tell me what to do. Ain't gonna, you want to make your own hours. And so, with children, I think if we plant that seed early and we can pair them with the mentors early. So say, for example, I'm a little girl, I bake cupcakes. You're a baker, one of the best in the city. Your wedding cake started at $650. You ain't got time for no cupcakes. But if you took someone on like me and allowed me to come into your facility and bake my little cupcakes, you could still get money. I could be mentored. By the time that I go to college or finish high school, I know exactly what I want to do. Either I'm gonna keep on baking these cupcakes or I don't want no parts of that. So I got time to make some mistakes before I jump out and start a business that I'm taking money from my family from. So that's why I think we plant the seed early.
Yeah. And that
Yes.
that original business owner now has created a different channel.
Yes.
So
And you know what? Speaking of that, because you said you have a daycare,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
I had my girlfriends and I, we were daycare providers.
Mhm.
And I had decided to start my own once I was on my last daughter. Because it just didn't make sense to work and just pay childcare for, kids. And so I started mine, but with anything that I do, I always have to go big or go home.
Yeah.
So I pretty
So
much
that makes
ran it
sense.
as a facility. And my other girlfriends, three of my other girlfriends, there were more of us, but let's say about 4 of us total, we started Providers for Quality Childcare, and we mentored providers. And
Okay.
so they still have it.
Okay.
They do wonderful with that. I'm just on the board now, and it's advisory, but quarterly advisory. But with that, how did you go to childcare? I mean, you started in education, then moved to childcare. How did that start?
My family's need. So my husband was working in healthcare administration. He had to be at work at 3 a.m., which meant that he was leaving the home at 2 or 2:30 to be at work because he's never late. And so I was working in Santa Fe at the time, and we were living in Chasewood in Missouri City, and it was taking me like an hour and a half one way to get to work. Well, not one way, but an hour and a half commute, because my daughter was at a private school, Miss Baker's Preparatory Academy, and my son, I wanted my baby close to me, but it was still an hour drive after I dropped her off. And so I hired a driver in the neighborhood to pick up my daughter and take her to and from home and school. Well, it was working good. The third week, I went to pick up my daughter, and she was sitting on the driver's son's lap in the back seat, sucking on a blow pop. And I'm like, where I'm from, young ladies don't sit on men's laps. And I get chills talking about it now. And I just could not get that visual out of my head. My baby was like 6 years old, and I'm like, Lord, is she gonna be on Jerry Springer or some one day saying that she was molested as a child? Like, all these thoughts were going through my head, and I'm like, did anything happen? So luckily, I don't think anything happened, but that thought that she did not. And the reason that the lady gave me was because her son was at the basketball court playing ball with his friends, and she didn't want to be late picking up the kids. So she just swung by and got them all at the same time. And she wasn't on his lap that long, ma'am. So 3 weeks in, I could not work.
1 second is too long.
I was calling
Good,
him,
isn't it?
and I actually on my way to Santa Fe, I saw a little small car lot, and I bought a van so that my daughter could have a seat. And I told my husband, Essence needs her own seat. And he said, what do you mean? I said, we're going to get a van for Miss Deidre because Essence needs her own seat. She don't need to be sitting in nobody's lap. And literally, I bought a Town and Country van so that my baby could have a seat. And then 3 weeks after then, I was like, did I just buy a van for someone else's business? And I was like, I just bought a van for someone someone else, and I had never been a business owner, but it was the mama instinct.
Mhm.
And fast forward, we put a magnet on the van, and the business began to grow, and that's how we actually started our first business, Taking Kids Places.
Okay.
And then we had a trailblazer, and we were on the move, and the rest is history. That was 2006.
So I'm gonna do a quick plug right quick. For all you that are wanting to do date night, but keep saying, oh, we got kids and we can't go out because we don't have a babysitter, tell them what you got going on.
Yeah, tell them about
Okay, so right now, for those of you in the Pearland area, we're right off of 288, and we're in Shadow Creek area of Pearland, 15-minute commute from the Med Center area. We are open 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. and we're open 6 days a week. That's Monday through Saturday. We have availability for full-time, part-time, and drop-in for date nights. It's very important, I think, to date your mate. My husband and
yes.
I
Yes.
have been married 23 years, and that was one of the primary reasons that we ended up getting a facility, is because we wanted people to have drop-in as an option and a safe place for their kids to go, because sometimes family, they aren't, grandma get tired, and and everybody need a break. So if your grandmother needs a break, give Mother a break and send the babies on to us. And so we're,
The name of it.
Oh, and it's Taking Kids Places. You can reach us at childcarethatworks.com, send us a message. And our other facility is in the Missouri City area, and it's UMatter Learning Center, and that center is open 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, flexible hours, and we have open enrollment for infant up to school-age children.
Okay, now you're gonna give us your information so that we can post that. So we will
Yes.
definitely be posting that. We may even add it in the comments, but we'll definitely be posting it so you'll have opportunity to get that information. Because I know we kind of went through it kind of fast.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the debater in me. I talk fast. I'm like,
No need to debate here. We're not gonna argue. Man. Well, this is great. I keep wanting to take a look in that book
Okay.
there.
Now tell us about it.
Okay,
Is that cute little girl you?
Yes.
Oh, how cute.
That's
We should put it up on
me when I
the
was
screen up in
3.
the camera. So cute.
So I'll just read you the
You have to
back
get
of
your
it.
own copy to see a close-up picture of it.
Yes. It says, what do you want to be when you grow up? A teacher, fireman, or astronaut? You can do and be anything you want to, but did you know that you can own a business too? When you hear the word kidpreneur, do you see yourself? Can you imagine owning your own business? Have you ever helped someone solve a problem? A business is created when someone has a need and you provide a solution to their problem. It all adds up. It All Added Up is written to spark imagination, teach creativity, and ignite the idea of kidpreneurship, which means kids owning their own business. It's as simple as 2 + 2.
Oh, I love it.
All right. So that's great because I was a kidpreneur myself. People always say, hey, how'd you get into sales? Or how'd you get into this or that? And it all started back in like 7th and 8th grade. I used to walk around school with my little briefcase, but there wasn't no books in there. It was filled with a little chocolate candy. So me and my buddy used to sell candies. We should have been doing schoolwork, but we was selling candy all day long.
Oh, Lord.
But we were sharp.
Teachers watching.
I know, right?
Sharp.
We were sharp. I was able to collect enough money to buy a few things. But anyway, it's really important. We believe that entrepreneurship starts at a young age, and you have to instill it within your children at a young age. Don't wait till they get to college, or don't wait till they, all entrepreneurial creations are created like anything else out of the mother of necessity.
Right.
So if there's a need, then somebody creates a better mousetrap or creates this or that to facilitate that need.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you guys got, any other ideas you have for kids or for young adults? I know I don't have any young adults listening, but we have a lot of parents here that may be able to relay this information to their children.
Well, I think that you should get paid for your passion, and
Absolutely.
we have a son right now, 19 years old, Zion. He's in Morehouse.
Okay.
He's getting ready
Morehouse
to be a Morehouse man in 2022, and he talks a lot about one of his best friends at Morehouse. That's pretty much a engineer,
Okay.
designer. The guy's brilliant. His name is Marcus. He's on a five-year program where he does 3 years at Morehouse, 2 years at Georgia Tech, and all these guys do is play video games. They play video games.
Mhm.
And Zion has, naturally, since he grew up in an entrepreneur household, Zion has a business knack. He knows numbers. You know, he's actually doing business finance, and he's doing business law right now. So when I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago, I say, Zion, if Marcus knows everything about video design, and that's all you guys do is play video games all day, every day,
Mhm.
why don't you guys start getting paid for your passion?
Exactly.
And I said, what you can do, Zion, you can do something as easy as have a podcast inside your dormitory.
Nice.
That's where you and Marcus, y'all just talk about the latest and greatest video games, and just have people log into the podcast,
Mhm.
and you guys can do debates and things like that. You
And
know,
get paid for it.
and then you can get paid for it. That's because you would actually have these video game designers that would actually pay you guys to run their commercials.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you know what? It reminds me like Sports Center. I mean,
Yes.
it's the same thing.
Same
It's
thing.
the
It's the
same
same
thing.
thing.
Same
Concept,
thing.
yeah.
Same type of concept.
Yeah, and it's like that's all that they're doing, you know,
Okay.
and they're running this podcast out of their actual dormitory.
Mhm.
And with you being at Morehouse, if you know anything about Morehouse is pretty much like a golden triangle. So
Mhm.
you have Morehouse, you
Our
have
daughter went to
Spelman,
Clark.
and you have Clark Atlanta.
Clark, yeah.
So I mean, you got girls that also play video games.
Yeah.
So he can invite girls from Spelman over. He can invite girls and guys from Clark Atlanta over, and he can interview them on the different things that's going on with video games. And you have your own podcast. Make some money that way.
So was this your idea to him?
That was my idea to him because I was like, you guys are spending hundreds of dollars on video games.
And hours.
Even though those guys are making the grades,
Mhm.
you know, they love video games. So get paid off of your passion. It's
That's
like-
exactly right. Our daughter is a photographer. Well, she's now a film director, but at the time when she was at Clark, it was her photography. That was her
Okay.
passion. So she started her own company, which was Semantics. Her name's Samantha.
Okay.
And she started doing it. She was with Lamont Rucker and Jasmine Guy, you know, all these, because she also worked with the school radio station.
Okay.
So it all just, you know, it came full play. And now look, you know, she's doing, but that's what it is. It's the passion.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like being, you know, it's something you would do for free.
Yes.
It's being
exactly.
paid for something that you truly enjoy, that just brings you, you know, it just brings you so much.
Which brings
so
me
much
back
as
to this, you know, shirt that I'm wearing, which is After 5 Hair. You know, this is my daughter's company,
Wow.
you know, and as the book states, you know, she was graduating from Alabama State University in May,
Mhm.
and she was like, oh my God, you know, I've been having this car since I was 16, you know, I want this, I want a Benz, I want this, I want that. And we just kind of let it go through one ear out the other, you know, and she was actually thinking that she was going to get this nice Mercedes-Benz truck.
Thought you were gonna buy her
Graduation was
Yeah, you know,
She
and we
thought
were
she was gonna buy her a
like,
van.
and we were like, you know what? We have something that's even greater than that, you know,
Uh-huh.
and it will not depreciate at all. And she was kind of like, what? It was like, we have your own hair business. You know, I mean, we have your own hair business, and it's called After 5 Hair. You know, let your hair down after 5. And she was like, huh? And I was like, you spend so much money on lashes and hair. Why not get paid for your passion? Okay,
There you go.
You know, why
Right
only
into
be
it.
a consumer?
There
You
you
know,
go.
why don't you transition into being an actual owner as opposed to a consumer all the time? And that she loves the business, you know, she's
So you get a residual from all of these
You know
business
what?
ideas that you're putting out there?
You know what?
You
We're
can just
supposed
get your
to,
chest out,
but-
guys.
I mean, we know.
Proud. You
I mean,
can
we
be
don't.
proud.
I mean, I am proud though.
That's
That's
I mean, I am
Yeah.
proud
Right.
because, like we
That
told
name,
her,
family name.
yeah, I mean, well, you know, like we express to our children, you know, go to college, get your degree,
Mhm.
get a job in your degree field, okay?
Mhm.
But have that residual income that we talk about,
Mhm.
okay? And you can always say, you know what, when I was in high school, you know, my parents gifted me with a business.
Yeah.
You know what, when I was in college, my parents gifted me with a business,
Mhm.
even though I'm a geologist, even though I am a aerospace engineer. You know, we have a cupcake business because
Mhm.
my mom loved to make cupcakes, and she gave me this business when I graduated college.
You know what, right there, let me ask you something, especially because we have some single parents that are watching.
Okay.
And we may have kids, especially guys that don't have a dad or whatever, or the finances in their family, that kind of generational income that can pay forward. What would you advise, even if that kid is, overhearing this while their mother's watching this and they're in the kitchen?
I'll take it that way.
Okay.
So in my book, it all added up. I pretty much talk about how you use what's in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
That's another John Henry thing.
There you go.
So pretty much in the book, in the book, she actually starts a business, and it's a smoothie business. And she uses $13, fruits out of the fridge, straws, yogurt, and cups. $13. Sells them to 24 at $2 a piece. $48. It took her $13 cost to invest in it, and she made $35 off of it. So for families, I would say use what's in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about the amount of money you make initially, but it's money over time. It's your gas
Yes.
money. It's your
just start banking it.
Just start banking
Savings,
it. Yeah. And I talk about savings in the book
watch it.
and watch it grow. But another thing too, if families invest in businesses now, even though they're small, if you file taxes on that business, one, you're proving that the business is scaling, because we hope that the business will grow.
Yep.
So then a child will graduate and be in front of a banker with financial history for a business that was able to scale, because they're not looking for you to make millions. They just want to know, is it scalable?
Yep.
So now
As
you're
long as it's not a
bankable.
hobby,
Right.
that's what they're looking
So
for.
now you're bankable. And so a lot of times we're not bankable as adults, because we take money from our houses, trying to grow business, make bad decisions. But the kids, they have time to mess up, because they don't need this money to live off of.
Right.
And that's the biggest misconception about any business.
Mhm.
The biggest misconception is money.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go to a bank and I need this much money, I need that much money. No. You want to start off at the least amount of money that you have.
Least amount of overhead.
And instead of going to the bank, I would suggest go to the SBA first,
Mhm.
because you go to SBA, not only will you be able to obtain a loan, but there are classes that you can take,
Mhm.
financial security classes, there are business development classes and things like that will help you in your track for becoming an entrepreneur
Right.
or business owner. So
And you don't want to get a loan if you are not for sure that it's going to work.
exactly.
Because it's like, whether it works or not, those people want their money back with interest.
Yeah.
So, even if you have to start off with $100, you have to start off with $200.
Mhm.
With the power of social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you can do any business that you want. It just depends on, do you want to do an e-commerce business first? Do you want to do a brick and mortar first? Which brick and mortar should be last. All right, because now you're talking
Everything's
about
so
a whole lot of
separate.
overhead.
Yeah.
So if you want to do daycare, do it in your home,
Mhm.
do it in your apartment. See if
Get
it works.
licensed.
Yeah,
You have to get
yeah.
licensed.
Yeah, get licensed.
Yeah, most definitely. And
Remember that.
if there's an interest in it, and you see that, hey, my business is scaling,
Mhm.
and hey, I went from 25 kids, that's having like another 25 kids that's on a waiting list. Well, that means that you have 100 kids.
Yeah.
And depending on how much you're charging per week, then that'll say, hey, it's time for a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And then lease first.
Or new location.
Yeah, then get the land
Second
and then
location.
build, and it goes on from there. But always start small, because it doesn't take as much money to start a business
Mhm.
as passion.
Okay.
That's right.
Passion is the only thing that's going to keep you
That's
going.
the drive.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the drive.
I mean,
You
it's
have to have
like,
that.
and we do live in a world of instant gratification, which they call it the microwave generation. I don't care what you're doing, it's slow cook. It's
Mhm.
crock pot. You know what I'm saying? And you have to really sit with yourself and say, hey, can I do this thing 4 or 5 years? Can I do this thing for 10 years? That's before I see a profit. Well, that's where passion comes in. But if it's driven by money, okay, you're not in it for 5 years. You're not even in it for 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, quick return.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that passion can take you and it'll grow with you.
Yes.
Because with mine, I had my daycare because I was playing with my daughter. And then from there, I kept getting girls.
Mhm.
And so that morphed into mentoring. So then I had founded my own organization for girls, and I wrote my own curriculum, and then the schools picked it up and I taught it in there. So now you got the second leg.
Okay.
And then that went on started branching off into education and then ended up running for board trustee and was first African-American female in my district to win for board trustee. So you see how it just has legs.
Yes.
Layers.
You know, and that's what happens. And then your kids are watching this in the meantime. So then they're growing in that path. They understand where passion comes from. They, you know, because they see you in your passion that you're truly giving, because it's not about the money.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't talk about the money.
You know,
It's about the planning of it. We got to do this. You are in it. Your
Yes.
sleeves are up and you're totally engrossed in it, immersed in it. And that's where they begin to understand it all. And it's good for your kids to see you in that type of passion working like that,
right.
you know, because what it does is it instills in them to
Work
make
ethic.
your work count and to like what you do, you know, be passionate, as well as it's quality time for them to see that and enjoy that. with
And they
you.
develop a work ethic on
Yes.
their own from it
Yes.
too,
Yes.
seeing how it's supposed to be done. All right. Well, we love having you guys here tonight. You guys want to tell people where they can get your book from again?
Yes, so you can go online to http:// the name of the book, it all added up, .strikingly.com. So it's http:// it all added up .strikingly.com. Or you can just send me a simple message on Facebook and Messenger, and I'm LJ Henderson on Facebook, and on Instagram I'm First Lady of Education, all spelled out, lowercase, First Lady of Education.
Or they can just hit us up at Henderson Love.
Yes.
There you
We'll also
That's
have
our
all of the information
site
on
together.
our.
Yeah, we're gonna
page,
post
too.
it.
We'll
We're gonna
definitely
post it
link
later as well.
Yeah, we'll post the link and all.
Yeah. So we because we had some technical difficulties originally and we got started a little late. Let me pay some bills right quick. Just want to let you guys know that we have our first sponsor. We're looking for additional sponsors here, but Logos Bible Software, is one of our prime sponsors now, and I encourage you guys to go out to their website at logos.com. That's LOGOS.com. So if you're interested in beefing up for Bible study or just knowing the word a little bit more, go to their website. It's a really good educational website, and definitely it will enhance what you're learning in your house of worship. Also, this Saturday.
Oh, I'm excited about this Saturday.
Yes, we have a
we
meet.
didn't have it on the advertisement. Wear your ugly Christmas sweater. I got mine. You guys have to wear your sweater.
It may be hot, guys, but anyway.
So
Anyway, we're having a meet
Still
and
a
greet.
holiday.
We're having a meet and greet. Marriage Talk Tuesdays will be at Bolero in Stafford, Texas, this Saturday night. I'm sorry, Saturday day. I'm sorry, I'm just saying Saturday night. From 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So come meet us. We're going to be live on the radio as well. So you guys can hear your voices on the radio if you want to have something to say. And most importantly, come on and get a free game of bowling and help support the grand opening of Bolero. And the address will be at 4919 South Main Street in Stafford, Texas. And that's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
We'd love to see you there. Come out and meet us, okay? We can take some pictures and have a good time.
Yes. So I told you guys we were going to go from G to PG. Actually, it's kind of R-rated tonight. So PG-13, we'll say.
He loves this.
So
He loves it.
put the babies and the children to bed so we can talk some adult shop here.
Okay.
So I was explaining to you guys that we get letters in from the audience and we address their we choose one and we address it, right?
Okay.
So they've been really interesting lately, and I will read this one. It's kind of long, so bear with me, guys.
Too long.
I'll read fast then. Question of the day, dear Tori and Terry. My name is, and I scratch her name out, and I've been married 8 months. However, as I write this, I am done with my marriage. I want to file a divorce, but I need to get some advice from you. I guess you are wondering why I am sharing such a tragic situation in my marriage, but I want everyone to know what kind of person I'm married to. I know many would wonder why I'm writing to you instead of just leaving him and putting this behind me. Truth of the matter is, he's a good man and I still love him. And I am a very jealous woman. And one thing I can never accept is sharing my man with another woman. Not to talk of the man being my lawfully wedded husband. My husband and I have been together for 5 years total, and I'd always seen him glance at other women, but I had no idea he would stoop to this level. He has all the qualities I want in a man, the most important being his faithfulness, I thought. Since he's such a good man, husband, and provider to me, I had no reason to believe he was cheating on me. Long story short, for the benefit of my wife, during our 5 years of marriage, I never stepped out on him, but twice I caught him texting another female, and he said it was a friend from work. 3 weeks ago, I wasn't feeling good at work, so I decided to go home. Oh yes, did I mention I'm 6 months pregnant? Before I left the office, I tried to call my husband several times and couldn't reach him. I felt he was probably just busy at work and could not be distracted. Once I drove it to the house, the first sign that something was wrong was when I saw his car parked on our street and not in the garage or the driveway. I was surprised because I'd never expected him to be home at this time. I didn't give it a second thought and felt there must be a reason for him to be home. When I opened the door, I immediately froze when I saw a lady's purse and shoes in the foyer. My head was spinning and several thoughts were running in my mind. I prayed that it was not what I was thinking. I tiptoed toward our bedroom and the unmistakable sound of sex hit me straight in the heart. I turned the handle of the door and it opened, and what did I see? My husband was on top of a strange woman on our bed. They did not see me immediately until I screamed and started throwing everything I could grab. He began to grab me, saying it's not what I was thinking. How the hell would he know what I was thinking? I started yelling at them to get out while grabbing her hair as she tried to scoot past me. I told him to get out and never come back. I've been home for the past 2 weeks, and my husband's friends and even family members on both sides have been begging me to forgive him and give him another chance. But I don't think I can ever forgive him or forget what I saw. He calls me every day, all day, trying to apologize and says that he wants his family. I'm to the point where I don't even want the baby inside of me. I don't even know if this is his first time cheating, but I don't want to stick around for it to happen to me again. Do I give him another chance or do I file for divorce? Wow. I told you it was juicy.
That's a lot.
It's a whole lot. Wow. You know, to be pregnant and to catch your wife cheating. First of all, who cheats on a wife?
Not your
that's
wife,
pregnant?
your husband cheated.
I mean, your husband, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, what kind of man does that? You know, anyway. Wow.
Well, I mean, I can answer all of them. Which one you want first?
Go ahead, babe. It's your show too.
Well, as far as everything that she's asking, there's too many people involved in this. She definitely needs to go somewhere and just be isolated with her thoughts, with Christ, and make her own decision. Nobody should be making this decision for her. She is his wife, not everybody else. She's married to him. So she's the one that determines if she's going to stay married to him. That is a personal decision. That is not for us to decide. That is not for her family to decide, his friends to decide. That is a decision, sweetheart, that you're going to have to make on your own.
And you know, baby, as we always know, every time when they're asking that question, what should I do? They are resigned in their heart already that they don't want to leave, but they don't want to. They just don't want to
someone
see
to
it.
tell them. And
Exactly.
then too, whenever you're in something, you can't see the forest for the trees because you're in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's different. And so no matter how much you try to step out of it and look at it, you're in it.
Yeah.
And so I can understand wanting points of view or hearing from people because there may be things you didn't consider because you're so clouded by the fact that you're still in shock.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, give yourself that time. I mean, I don't know how long this affair has been going on. It may not have been overnight. I mean, you don't have to rush.
Yeah.
You know, take care of you.
But she's been in the house 2 weeks by herself, so.
Whatever. I mean, there's no rush, honey. You do you, and you take care of you, and you do what you have to do for you and that baby. I mean, now, when it comes to, I don't know if I want this baby, I can't. Again, there's so many things that's not for me to say. That's not for any of us to say,
Exactly.
realistically. That, you know, you're carrying your child too. That's your child too.
I would say this,
but
stay. I mean, because here's the thing. I'm not saying what he did was right.
Mhm.
Okay? And I'm not totally endorsing it because we don't know everything. Okay.
Exactly.
But what we do know, as we read in between the lines of this, is that I've always kind of seen him glancing at
Mhm.
other women. So was that
I
ever
think she was
addressed?
trying to prep us for, okay, he may have done something, but I closed my eye to it, or
She
I
doesn't
just
have real solid trust.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
what I'm
Going
saying
on
was
right
it.
now.
I mean, it's like, was that even ever addressed? Even if you're dating, okay, and you've always seen him kind of glancing at other women, or even if y'all have been married for 8 months and you've always kind of seen him glancing at other women, have you ever addressed that? At home in private? Hey, what's going on with this before we get married? Or hey, what's going on with this now that we're married? And then here's one thing, a man is going to come in contact with other women. All right. And I'm not saying that you have to come in contact with other women sexually and things like that. But she's already stated, I'm a very jealous woman.
Yeah.
I don't want my man around any other women, this, that, and whatever. I mean, he may go to the gym. I was in the gym this morning, and there was a women's group, and they was working out, getting it. And there was some guys that was part of the group also. I was in the grocery store, and a woman saw me with the after 5 hair, and she's like, hey, do you sell hair? Well, no, I don't. My daughter sells hair, kind of talking this, that, whatever. I mean, and you're this jealous wife. I mean, you got to deal with that issue before you make a commitment to anybody.
Well, also too, remember, not only did she say she saw him glancing, she said she caught him texting women. So, I mean, my thing is that's why I said it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
So it's a mess.
Not just that, he has 5 years to decide if he wanted to cheat, do whatever he wanted to do.
So
they both had 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
They both had 5 years.
So, I mean, it's a mess, and that's why you need to take that time, because you need to sort it all out, and you need to sort it out. Nobody needs to sort it out for you. You don't need everybody in your ear. You need to, if 2 weeks, whatever, 2 weeks may not be, it definitely isn't enough, especially if you're writing this letter, because you're putting it out there, now it's on social media. You're mad. You're going to go through so many emotions. So get to the point where you allow yourself to go through all those emotions, that you can go through them, and then you can think. And then you decide for you consciously, write it down. Why do I want this marriage? After everything I've seen, like you said, after what I saw, why do I want this marriage? Write down the pros, write down the cons. You say you love him, he's a good man, right? Why he's a good man. I mean, argue both sides.
And the baby
you come
is
up with
innocent,
what works
right?
best for
The baby
you.
is definitely innocent.
I mean, the baby is innocent. So to make a statement, regardless of what he did, I don't even know if I want this baby in me. I mean, is that kind of like some
She's emotional.
temporary
She's
anger,
emotional.
emotional?
She's
whatever?
running through a gamut of
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because the baby's innocent. I mean, we've been married for 23 years. Okay, and one thing that we talked about, and I won't go through a whole resume of the issues that we've had, but I will tell you this, when people make these announcements, 35 years happily married, 50 years, happily married.
Not every single day.
And not every single day, okay? That's why when you do those vows, you can write your vows, you can do whatever, but you need to take that piece, not for better, okay? You need to take that piece for worse, okay? What falls underneath for worse?
Yeah.
Okay, is it for worse, just this is worse, this is worse, this is worse, but this is there? Because people just only want to see the for better.
Exactly.
And being married 23 years, it has been some for worse, and it has been some, hey.
It's not a crystal stair.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I need to just take a break, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to take a break, still married, still together, take a break, and make it all come back together again, because, you don't want to work your way completely away from it, work your way back into it. And like you stated, it's not for us, coaching is great. Okay. I mean, great. And then, once you, go to the counseling and you go to the coaching, lay it all on the table.
Yes.
Lay it all on the
So
table.
they can help you.
Right. Because you're seeing it from your side, and my thing is that, you know, that coin has two sides.
Yeah, there's three sides to every story.
Okay.
His side, her side, and then the truth is in there somewhere.
Exactly, exactly. You know, and then after all of that, you know, after you receive that professional counseling or professional coaching, and it has to be marriage counseling, marriage coaching, right?
Mhm.
After you receive that, you know, if it's God's will for y'all to come back together, then do that.
Exactly.
Amen.
I just want to say that she knows what she has.
Mhm.
And a lot of times people arrive to the point to where they're married, but some people will force someone into marriage
Mhm.
because he may have, not in this situation, just speaking hypothetically, but he may have been cheating before with someone else. And so I've seen women try to force a man to make a decision. Well, you're going to marry me to prove something
Yes.
to the other woman.
Seen that. Yep.
So we don't know how they arose, you know, how they got to that point. But one thing that I could say in any situation, and I tell my kids this, and I'm gonna hit y'all with another one-liner.
Yeah, I love it.
If it ain't beneficial, it's artificial.
Ooh.
If it ain't beneficial, it's artificial. So she said that he was a good man. Good for what?
Yeah.
And so the thing is at the end of the day, nobody is 100.
Mhm.
And even in a marriage, sometimes I think as women, you know, you could push a man away from you, and you can push a man to cheat, and a man can push a woman to want to look the other way. It's both sides. So I think that when you have a partner, you have to communicate with your partner. You have to have
Most
someone
definitely.
that listens to you.
Yes.
She knows what she has, and it's either in him or it's not.
Yeah.
So it's so you can't, you know, it's either two cheeks or no cheeks. And no, you can't have stuff with it.
You know, I really wish that we could have delved deeper. I understand they've been together 5 years. I would like to know if they even got premarital counseling before they got married. I mean, how many layers are to this onion, and how many have you peeled back?
Right.
Do you? I mean, because what you found out when you say we have something that we say always in counseling and in marriage ministry, and that is you have to continually know your mate.
Yeah.
And we're not the same that we were 5 years ago. And so where are you when it comes to really being in touch with one another of who you are? Has there been a disconnect for some time? And so when you are engaged and into one another, and you're concerned about one another, you're intentional about one another, there doesn't leave a lot of loose links for room for things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the enemy gets in that way.
Right.
And so you got to keep it tight, and that's communication. And no matter how difficult the communication, no matter how awkward, you got to have it. It's flesh of flesh, your flesh of his flesh, bone of his bone. That's your husband. You're actually carrying his flesh.
Right.
And so to even decide to have a baby, it's like, was there a discussion about that? I mean, where are you guys? Where are you? And so I really would advise counseling, and I would advise not making a decision until you go to counseling, and just go.
I wonder if they get married because of the baby.
She's 6 months
She's
pregnant.
6
months.
They're married 5.
8 months. Okay.
I mean, it's important to go to people. I mean, you know,
I didn't do the math.
like in business, you know, if we wanted to open up a daycare business, right?
Mhm.
You know, we went and spoke to people that not only opened daycares first, but they were very, very successful. You know, and I remember when, you know, me and LJ was about to get married, you know, it was like, okay, who do you know besides our grandparents, you know, that have been married forever? And I was like, let me think. I was like, oh snap, my uncle Brimby and my aunt Joyce, you know, they live in Mo City.
Mhm.
Hey, how about we just go over to their house for like about 2 weeks straight and just go over there just to have just general conversation, because they've been together since, you know, she was like 16 years old, you know, and they're in their 50s at that time. And I think that they was like 35 years in, you know. So we went to a couple that we knew that was like married already, you know, and we just asked those questions, you know, and thank you. I would go outside with my Uncle Brimby, you know, and he would just tell me things. He would say, look, you know, when you get married, all right, this is not going to be like the boyfriend girlfriend thing. It's certain things that you have to let go over your head. Okay, don't fight every fight, you know, be smart, you know. And she's sitting there with my Aunt Joyce, you know, and she was just telling her things, but we made it a point, okay, you know, every day while we were just dating, Let's go to my uncle Verme's house. Let's go to my aunt Joyce's house. So then when we got done with that, we went to our pastor. Went to our pastor. He said what he had to say, and then we went to like a marriage counseling session that wasn't even related to us, didn't know us or anything. Let's just go to some strange people.
So you did all your due
Yes,
diligence.
yes.
Exactly. So, one of the things, we ask this whether they're premarital or already married, when we're interviewing them with the coaching sessions, what did marriage look like in your household when you grew up? So a lot of people that we talk to, either if they had, parents in the house that were married, it was always something difficult going on there. So there wasn't a model of marriage, so to speak, that they would want to emulate.
You can
It's a
expand
different
on
era
this.
now too. It's such a different era than what
Yeah.
your grandparents. I mean, my grandparents on both sides was deaf to
Yeah.
60 something years.
She can expand on this because she has always said that, I don't want my marriage to look like, what I saw. I don't want my children, to experience the things that I experienced. I want our marriage to be better.
Yeah.
I want our children to have better, just everything with LJ, I can honestly say, me being a man, I'm just, single household, raised by my mom. It's like, okay, I'm doing mom and dad duty. You're going to go out there, you're going to get educated, do your thing. But more of my wife, she had a blueprint that's before we got married, and she was like, I wasn't able to do Girl Scouts how I wanted to do Girl Scouts. So my daughter's going to be in Girl Scouts. We wasn't able to have a family night. I always wanted to have that Tuesday. Everybody comes down to the living room. You turn off the TV and we say, "How was your day? Good or bad?
Yeah.
Let's talk." So she instilled that.
Yeah.
Everything that she wanted. She was like, "Okay, we're going to do movies on Friday. And then one Friday, Zion to get to pick a movie. The next Friday will be Essence, and then on Thursday, that was another family night. So we always had it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I wasn't exposed to that because my mom worked and she went to Texas Southern University. And I was kind of like the latchkey kid. But she had already had the blueprint of how she wanted it. So before we got married, she was like, "These are the things. This is how it has to go."
That structure, and you know what? Especially with you not having it either. You as a grown man with your family, you want to come home. I want to be a part of this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's just
Yes.
beautiful.
I think that that's why he's like Father of the Year, because he didn't really.
You and Steve competition.
My son, he's my son's hero. Literally, he's 19 years old. He thinks his dad wakes up every morning just to put the sun in the sky, and but he's been that way forever, even though he never had a relationship with his father. So I think that pushed him in the opposite direction. Like, I'm going to be everything that I was not, as opposed to, well, I don't know how to be a man because I ain't never have a man. Some people get caught up in that. Yeah. As for me, my parents were married 13 years. My grandparents were married to pretty much, death did them part. I was engaged before I met my spouse. When I met him, I didn't think I was going to marry him. I was tired. I was frustrated. I'm like, get out of my face. Had an attitude. I was like, and we kept bumping heads, but literally we dated 6 months and got married. But the thing that made me decide to marry him was he told me that, now some men had told me some real slick stuff before. This one right here. This man said, "I know I want to be buried next to you."
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I think
So
back,
you do some city game.
yeah,
That's that
yeah.
mom
So
stuff.
I was like, see, a young man with old man qualities. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, that right there. I was like, that was it right there. That was it right there.
I guess that's what they're teaching them in the world these days.
Hey, class of character teaches you that. Excel with excellence.
Yeah. I was like,
So-
all right.
So the debate nature, you just shut down there?
Well, it just kind of
You're
made
like,
me go, all right now. But no, when I thought about my grandparents, like they are buried next to each other. you know, his grandparents are buried next to each other, and I knew what that meant.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, so you ain't just trying to take me out, spend a little money, and you know, no. So he actually, from the day that I met him, he's always treated me with grace, like I have a crown over my head. He's not perfect, I'm not either,
Mhm.
but I'm perfect for him, and he's perfect for me.
Mhm.
That's-
Amen.
Glad to hear it.
There.
Yeah,
Glad to
there's
hear it.
really, and there's really not a, I mean, there's not a blueprint, you know? I mean, it's like everybody is like, well, you know, the blueprint to marriage is, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's like, what works for you?
Yeah.
You know?
Everybody's situation isn't the
Yeah,
same.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, everybody talks about the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett thing, you know what I'm saying, the open marriage, this, that, whatever, but they've been together forever. I mean, they have a beautiful love. I mean, they have
But
beautiful
if he was just
children.
Willie from South Park
Yeah.
with no money, it wouldn't be no open nothing.
Well,
You know?
yeah.
Everything will be closed.
I mean, I don't know.
You know, I beg to differ a little. I do believe that the word, the Bible, is our blueprint. I think as much as
Yeah.
we can follow. I mean, not everybody, by the time they get to it, they've done some things, so you just kind of got to walk with
Yeah.
it where you
Yeah.
at, you know. But I definitely think that that's a form of a blueprint to, you know, to take it to, especially if you're at, you know, at crossroads with each other, which road do I take?
Yeah.
So let's open the book together and
I
let's
ain't
pray
hear it
together.
all.
But your house certainly doesn't have to look like the house on
Well,
the right
yes.
of you or the left of you, whatever works
you
for
on?
you.
Now, I will tell you, when we went
We
through
need
a
to get
rough patch in
questions
our
started.
marriage, Christian books that we read, I bought The Power of a Praying Wife by Stormy O. Martin.
Oh, okay, great.
That's
Okay.
And-
the second time.
So,
Okay,
and I
That's
want
my
him.
wife's book. She loves
Stormy,
that
you
book.
owe me money.
Yes.
I talk about this book every episode.
All the time.
Yeah.
Great book.
Yeah.
That's
Great
okay.
book.
Now you owe us both money.
Yes, and then I bought him The Power of a Praying Husband. So the
Oh, that
things
book.
that he could not,
Have both.
Yes.
like, I would tell him stuff, but he wouldn't get it because, you know, people have to get things in their own time. And a
Mhm.
woman can't always tell a man, you have to show a man. So I was like, it's in the book.
Ooh.
It's in the book. And when he read the book, he was like, you know what? He talked about that same thing in the book. I'm like, pretty much married people go through the same stuff. It may be in different
Right.
seasons.
Mhm.
How you deal with it is, you know, how
the
you deal with
scripture
it.
says
You
it's
know.
nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
And
So,
not just that, since we're doing one-liners and all, and,
What you got?
and
What you got?
I decided.
I just looked at Hebrews 13:4, and which says marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure.
Yes.
For God will judge the adulterer
Yes, indeed.
and all the sexually immoral.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he will.
Yes,
I
he will.
actually have that meme.
But that's scripture, so.
Well, that's,
Yeah, no, it's a
That's
scripture.
like-
It's a scripture. It's a meme
Yeah.
that has the scripture on it. 'Cause you know we
So,
always post various different
so our
marriage memes.
our ghost, I was gonna say writer here, but our ghost guest here, she wanted to know if,
He's the mystery guest.
I know we have a mystery guest in the studio
I just
today.
want to be on the camera.
You want to say hi?
Say hi.
Hi.
There she is. Can you guess the voice?
Anyway, the question that she asked was, where's Christ in all of this? You know? And reading that letter, I didn't hear Christ. I didn't see any semblance of Christ in there. I didn't see anything. And that was another reason why I brought up the scripture, you know,
Mhm.
because, you know, she's wondering, you know, should she stay in her marriage or not? Well, God says that, you know, hey, you know, unless there's some sexual immorality, that you're supposed to stay in your marriage. And again, the reason that, and our audience already know, we don't advocate divorce unless, you know, someone's getting their head beat in or something like that, where they got to get out. I'm sorry.
Keep it real.
Thank you. We know how to
Safety
talk.
first.
Safety first. But anyway, you know, but we don't advocate divorce. So the thing is that what do you want to do to get your marriage back together? So right now she's dealing with infidelity. She's dealing with broken trust. She's dealing with, you know, separation because her and her husband aren't even together right now. And she's pregnant. So she's going through all these different emotions and things like we discussed at first.
You know, I'm sorry, honey. I'm forgive me for interrupting you. I just have to say this before we go because I know we're going to wrap up soon. Let's just ask the guys, like, what if it was flipped, where you came home and wasn't feeling well, and your wife had someone at home? What do you think of that?
Well, he wouldn't be able to scoot past me as quick as she did her.
No violence.
No, I mean real talk.
So-
you know how you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you
You
got
talk about
still,
real talk, it probably be some slow singing and flower
Flower
bringing.
bringing.
To be honest with you,
What did you say? Say it again. I'm sorry.
it'd probably be some slow singing and some flower bringing.
That's a feeling.
That's
That's enough.
Biggie.
Baby, baby.
I would just
Right.
say too, and you can chime in if you want to. I think sometimes that we put so much stress on the intimate, physical part of relationships, but that's really, even though some people think it's 80, that's really only 20% of what it takes to really make it work.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so you have to know what you have and be willing to hear your partner, give your partner what they need, and then everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah.
And you won't have to go outside
But you know what, LJ?
of your house.
It's real.
That's easier said than done. And the only reason I say it from a psychological perspective, so when people cheat in their relationships and their marriage and things like that, there's underlying issues. You know, you just don't go out here and see a woman and say, "Oh, I'm decided to cheat." I mean, you know, there's trust issues and things in your childhood. There were inconsistencies going on with with your parents and you. There's so many things that could have been going on in this person's childhood that he never been in a committed relationship. He doesn't know how to commit, afraid to commit. There's a whole plethora of things that will, and I'm not excusing or condoning, but what I am saying is that there are reasons that people do certain things. So you just can't say that, because we're married now, you're not supposed to cheat.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, at some point, just like I think that, I don't know the statistics on it, but I think that probably more men cheat than women. Okay. And so I think that a woman can have been through a sexually abused relationship, a physically abusive relationship, but she would still be faithful. So that doesn't, and a lot of times she will have been pretty much abused by everyone and faithful to every person that she's been with. Unlike sometimes I think men can get off the hook because they haven't been this or they had issues in their childhood. I'm just saying, if you have a good thing, take care of that good thing, because
but from a clinical perspective, I mean, a lot of women that had been sexually abused and molested and things like that, I mean, they become very promiscuous and things. So, I mean, again, we don't have the statistics.
Person to person.
Yeah. It varies so much.
But if we're talking about marriage, I mean, we go back to the receipts, check those receipts,
Exactly.
He's looking at other women like
Texting
all
other
the
women.
time. He's
Yeah.
texting other women all the time. I mean, check the receipts.
And this was
I mean,
prior
it's
to
right
their
there.
marriage.
Prior to the marriage. So it's
So
like,
she had
what
something
do
to
you
think about.
think?
So,
You
yeah,
know?
he was
Thinks
also
is
a
going
good
to happen.
provider, so you have to, she stated that he was a good provider, he was a good, and she said
Yeah.
good husband, I don't know.
Yeah, she said good husband, good
Yeah, but
provider.
then, okay, so then he's not a father yet, so they don't have any other children. Okay, this is their first child. But again, I mean, that all should have been.
So
I mean,
then
I would have.
And that's what I'm saying, were those things, were those things addressed, previously?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, there's a lot of times that you'll see some women that are in abusive relationships, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's that underline right there, he's always kind of like yelled at you, you know what I mean? Even when even when y'all were dating, he's always kind of like grabbed your arm and said, "Don't you walk away from me," And
Sign's always been there.
Yeah. And now you're married, and as opposed to him like yelling at you and grabbing your arm and saying, "Don't walk away from me," now he's grabbing you by the neck and now he's throwing you on the ground and things like that. I mean, it's like, they don't really understand how blindly love can be, and it's the wrong type of love, and it blinds you, and then you're kind of like in this thing and you feel like you're stuck, but you're not really stuck. It's this whole low self-esteem thing that, he's the only one, he's the only this, he's the only that, and like I tell my daughter, like all the time, I'm like, it's pretty much 8 billion people in the world.
Right.
And I know at least 1 billion have to be good men.
Yeah.
I mean, move on from it. And I know that's easier said than done, but that's when a good
So a lot of
support
times, Tony,
group comes together.
the energy that you put out, that's what you attract
Mhm.
as well. So we
Agreed.
always wonder, why does this person always get, and that could be male or female, why does this person always get with a person that's going to abuse him or cheat on them?
Or just doesn't value them.
Yeah, but again, it's not like you have this big billboard up, but I honestly believe that energy and those spirits, that you have, the spirit that you have, it attracts that opposite type of energy.
Until
like
you
Yeah.
heal. Yeah, you gotta get
you
healed
have
first.
to heal. You have to do the counseling.
Yeah, you got
You
to.
have to find a way that, instead of coping with things and trying to deal with things, you have to be able to get that help.
I would really suggest, I know we've got our listener here and, the letter, and we've gone in, and you're probably way more confused now, really. I would state this, and I would advise this. Give yourself time. Go in your prayer closet, like you were talking about the book we were talking about.
Yes.
Get the book, but
That's
get the book
strong
for
on
you.
that
Get the book for you.
Repeat
Now
the
make
name
this about
together.
you. A Praying Wife by Stormy Martin. Oh, Martin.
Yeah, the power of
The
a
Power of
praying
a Praying Wife.
wife.
Mhm, that's it.
And it's power of a
And you
praying
can get
woman
the
too.
Power of a Praying husband if you want to.
Excuse me.
Give it to him, mail it to him. That's up to you. But there are two. They have one for the wife and for the husband. But what I would personally advise you to take care of you right now.
Mhm.
You are carrying a child, and you're 6 months, right?
Yes.
6 months, yeah. So depending on where you're at now with it, I don't know. Maybe you're 7 months. You're in your 3rd trimester by now. I don't know when you wrote this letter, but I would also get counseling for myself first.
Yeah.
And if get it for yourself first. I'm telling you, it's going to open up your mind, and you're going to be able to see things a lot more clear. You're going to understand you and why you tick the way you tick.
Mhm.
And that's going to help you in guiding you to make healthy choices.
And
Because now
definitely
this
get
is
this
about
done
you
before the baby.
and your baby. Yeah. So I would advise that. And when it comes to your husband, eventually you guys probably will have to talk, but take care of you first so that you can be prepared for that conversation.
Wow. So, in closing, infidelity is one of the toughest setbacks for a relationship to overcome. But it also can be the motivation of positive change, like my wife is just explaining here about getting the counseling, getting the help that you need. So despite issues of infidelity, many couples do choose to stay together, and it works out in a lot of times. So, I don't know if this is an isolated incident for this guy, but in reality, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You have to get yourself the help that, if not for you, for your child, because you don't want to bring your child up in this situation here. You want your child to be able to, like we were saying earlier, model a good marital home. So give them something that they can emulate, that they can take with them to their next generations and all.
Remember, your marriage is your children's classroom.
Exactly.
Remember that.
Exactly. So we want to thank our guest tonight.
Yes.
Man, interesting topic.
I'm glad you guys came. Thank you
Yes,
so
yes,
much.
yes, yes.
You must
And our mystery guest.
Yes.
We thank our mystery guest as well.
Say something to the people, mystery woman.
Hey.
I'm looking here. I got at least 3-4 Madison Marlins on the line here, and I ain't get one.
I bet you have more Eagles now. More
Whoop,
Eagles.
whoop.
They was in here talking about us,
The
Madison
Eagles are
Marlins.
operating.
They were in here talking about us. Those what's the name?
Eagles.
Oh, I forgot the name of the school.
Hey, you're
She called me a hater. She called me a hater.
no Eagles. Eagles.
What's up, Callie? What's up, my Callie family?
What's
Yay!
up?
Talking about Houston schools, Texas schools. I just want to say what's up to the Yellow Jackets, to the El Cerrito Gauchos, to Kennedy High, all of you guys.
I know, really.
I mean,
Cal
Oakland
State
High.
Ridgemont.
What's happening, Oakland High? Castle Michigan, Dow, St. Mary's. Hey,
We
holy
would just like to
names.
give a big shout out to Ridgemont 4, 100 Glen 3, that Chasewood, Broadgate, Quail Run, Quail Green West, Oh my goodness, Rich Gate. What's up, Broadgate Elementary? What's up, Hunts Glen Elementary? What's
You
up,
haven't been in
Glover?
school in
What's
so
up,
long.
EA Jones?
I know.
Most City Cougars. What's up? Come on now. All right.
Anyway.
Long live Dr. Ronald Thornton, the best band in the world. Come on.
What?
Yes.
The best band
And
in
you know,
the
Master
world.
Band, they always been
Hey, but you know,
No,
we
no,
must
no,
give a
because you
shout
know
out
I'm
to
getting
them.
ready to say.
We must give a shout out
Mr.
to
Portis.
Morehouse, Clark,
Mr. Portis.
Spelman,
Long
Oliver,
live Mr. Portis, too.
Alabama,
Mr. Portis, long live Mr.
Yes.
Portis.
Shout out to good schools.
Yes.
Best band director in
Alabama
Houston.
State University
Dr.
and
Ronald
Zion
Thornton.
at Morehouse.
So much, you guys.
All right, we got all the school shout outs in. So, guys, we thank you guys for joining us tonight. Don't forget this Saturday. Tell them, baby.
Bolero in Stafford. Ugly Christmas party, grand opening. Come bowl with us. Come meet us so you can hang out with us and we can be on the air and just kind of have a good time. And we can bowl.
Yeah.
We can bowl.
That's Bolero at
11
4919 South Main
11
Street in
to 2.
Stafford. Don't forget your book.
It all added up. Dream of Kid Entrepreneurship becomes reality. You want your copy? Just send me a message in Facebook and I'll send it out to you.
And again, we will give you that information so you can get directly in touch with them.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much, you
And if
guys.
you need childcare that works, it's
Yes.
just that simple. You know, childcarethatworks.com, 2 24-hour childcare centers, Missouri City, and of course, Pearland, Texas.
Amen.
Give us a call.
Amen.
Team Henderson is winning. Yay!
Amen. Keep your marriage and relationship questions coming in, guys. We read each and every one. The email address is ifwcmc1@gmail.com. Don't forget to join us on Facebook. We are always posting something of interest to you there. Go to our our website at iforeverwill.com. And on Facebook, it's just type in I Forever Will and you will pop up.
Also, too, one last thing. The second episode dropped of Affinity Couples. My husband and I are on that episode. And so, well, we're actually on the series, but the second episode dropped yesterday. So check out Affinity Couples.
Yeah, I think you can reach them at affinityweddings.net and then click on Affinity Couples. You want to pray us out, baby?
Sure. All right. Father God, our soul says yes.
Yes,
Thank you,
Lord.
Lord. Thank you, Lord, for all that you're doing, Lord, the information that we give. We thank you for Team Henderson and how they're sowing into the kingdom, Lord, for your children and for families. And we just give you praise, honor, and glory that you
Yes,
continue to use us. Use us, Lord, as we talked about purpose-driven, ideas and plans, down to the smallest child in the family, Father. We just give you thanks that you have a plan and it is good. So tonight we pray for traveling mercy and grace on the way home. And we just ask that you get us through the rest of this week. We give you thanks, praise, honor, and glory, and we declare and decree that you are Lord. And as for me and my house, we shall serve you.
Yes.
We thank you in your sweet name. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome.
All right, don't hang up the radio station. We sure to worship while you sleep
Worship while you
at
sleep.
gospelradionation.com. And as always, we love you with the love of Christ. See you next week.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.